How do you subtly mess with people? I look over people's shoulders when they're unlocking their phone, so I can see their 4-digit code. Then I pretend I'm making a phone call and very loudly use their number in my fake conversation. Yeah, the address is 8319 Main Street. It's so much fun to see their neck snap back with this what the fuck look, and then watch them mentally process the depth of such a remarkable coincidence. It's even more fun to do it with people you know and don't really like. At parties, I like to introduce myself as my boyfriend's sister, and then kiss him in front of whoever I introduce myself to. It has to be a peck on the lips, but drawn out just enough to gross them out. It's become a really awful inside joke. He's a good sport about it, though. Once he wrapped his arms around me as I was talking to one of his ex-coworkers and whispered, "Did you text Mom?" I was at a carnival with my boyfriend at the time. He had just won a stuffed animal for me playing some sideshow game. The carny working the game looks to me and says, "Well, now you have to give him a kiss." So I kiss him all sloppy like, turn to the carny and say, "You're a pretty fucked up guy telling me to kiss my brother like that." My wife used to play a couple of computer puzzle games when 95 vintage and was quite proud of beating my high scores. What she didn't realize was the high score table was a plain text file in the directory. So every time she beat my score, I edited the file to put myself on top again. She would play for days trying to top me, LOL. Edit, I don't think I ever told her directly, and frankly, I ain't gonna mention it now. But IRC, I screwed up editing the table once by not moving down all the scores, and she noticed the anomaly and got suspicious. At my school, you have to log in to use the computers. Sometimes on the computers next to me, I put a space where the username goes and then press the left key, so it looks like there is nothing there. When anyone tries to log in, it doesn't work because there is a space after their username. They never notice and assume the computer is broken. Yes, I get satisfaction out of watching people struggle. I like to walk at the same speed as total strangers. One time in college, I was walking home across campus after a night of drinking. This guy walking behind me eventually caught up to me and started to pass, but instead of letting him pass me, I sped up to keep pace. We walked next to each other without saying a word for the next 2 minutes. He then started slowing down, so I started slowing down. Then he sped up, so I sped up. Then he finally turns to me and says, "Are you ING with me?" I burst out laughing and said yes, and let him walk the rest of the way home without me. There's a different version of this that I see a lot of people do. Basically, they walk in a group, take the whole sidewalk, and then walk so slowly that they have a whole group of strangers trapped behind them for hours. Get a roommate / girlfriend / boyfriend / wife / husband. When negotiating housework, make sure you get the dishwasher responsibilities. Make sure your drawers are neatly and consistently organized. You want your spoons, knives, and forks well separated in well-defined areas. Every time you empty the dishwasher, your cutlery goes into the same partitions. Repeat for 2 to 25 years. One day, switch your forks and knives. When your roommate / girlfriend / boyfriend / wife / husband is nearer to the kitchen than you are and occupied with something else, casually ask for a fork. Wait for them to return with a knife because they grabbed into the wrong drawer partition while on autopilot after years and years of training. Act confused and say, "No, I asked for a fork." Watch as their sanity unravels. I sell cameras in a high-end store. I try to always use the worst comparisons possible when a client asks me to compare 2 models. Well, the Olympus M1 is like an all-dress pizza and the Fuji XT. One is like a screwdriver, you see? My new favorite is guaranteeing things that are obvious. Gluten-free cameras, no preserving agents in a bag, etc. A fun thing, when someone is walking behind you and you turn a corner, sprint as far as you can before they turn the corner. Before you went around the corner, you were like 20 feet ahead. When they turn around the corner and see you, you'll be like 100 feet ahead and look like you teleported. Holy shit, guys, I logged on to see 34 new messages. Me, what the fuck? Wait, no way. Never expected people to see this. I play a lot of billiards. Every once in a while you will run into the guy that likes to distract you during your shot. It is quite possibly the most irritating thing that I will experience in the game, but I usually don't say anything because they are entitled to play however they choose as long as they aren't physically touching the table, balls, or myself. In order to get back at them, I wait until it is their turn, make sure that I am in their field of vision while keeping my distance from the table to make it clear that I respect their shot, and then at the exact moment they shoot, I will quickly look up at the television or something. I only do this against those types of players, and it usually has a larger impact than their tactics. In high school computer lab, I would always quickly turn off my computer monitor when my teacher would come around the corner and go, "Oh shit," and he would make me turn it back on to see what I was doing, and it would always just be the spreadsheet or whatever it was I was working on, and he would demand to know what I was doing that I had to hide. This went on for weeks, and then one day, while at the computer, I see out of my peripherals this little Asian man, my teacher, slowly sneaking up beside my desk on his hands and knees, trying to get a look at my screen. All I could see was the top of his head. When I'm ordering from a fast food place or a Starbucks, when they ask for my name, I'll respond with the name of the person taking my order regardless of gender. They'll usually kind of give you a sideways look of confusion, and I just continue making eye contact, dead serious. It makes for a great response considering I'm a smaller Asian girl claiming my name is George. That guy definitely kept glancing over at me, as if I was going to suddenly change into a man. I'll go to a moderately loud party, like a bar party or something, and introduce myself as Global. It's just a weird name that nobody really has but could kind of sound like a genuine name. So after I introduce myself, the person I'm talking to repeats, Global, and I say, no, Global, so even though they're saying it right, I'm acting like there's something subtly different about the way I said it, and just have them repeat it a few times, and since it's a loud social gathering, they can't really tell whether I'm fucking with them or not. Sometimes when the person seems really uncomfortable, I'll just leave the party. I know in the back of my mind that person will be thinking to themselves, did I make him leave? Was that my fault? I don't even see the end result of my prank. Just knowing I caused a little chaos is good enough for me. Long line to get on the freeway D-bags just speed past the entire line in another lane, then force themselves in near the front. I just don't let them in. Been flipped off many times. The best is when other cars team up to just collectively fuck over people who do this. Edit. This isn't zipper merging. This is on the far right lane of a surface street that gets backed up leading to the on-ramp. Worked with a guy who was obsessed with his gas mileage. Every day, he would tell us the gas prices of each station he passed on the way in. Talk about saving weight and never driving faster than 55 miles per hour on the highway. He kept meticulous and extensive records on his mileage and maintenance. In order to keep my sanity, I would bring a small gas can in my car once a week and ADD about 2 gallons. He would rave about how his light tough on the accelerator must be why he is getting way more than the manufacturer's MPG rating. Take notes. This works brilliantly with angry customers, but even better with your boss. When you're faced with a meeting with your supervisor, especially one where they feel like they're in a power position, take a notepad with you and take notes of everything they say. Instantly ruins their power trip by making them question everything they say. My union rep at an old job used this trick to stop them from firing me illegally. The killer? He didn't even write anything. His pen ran out on the first word. He just sat and faked it the whole time. Intentionally misinterpret people's stories. I couldn't find Sparky anywhere, so I got on the roof to see if I could spot him. Why would he be on the roof? No, I just got up there so I could see farther. Why? Does the elevation help your eyesight? What? I didn't know you wear glasses. I don't. I was looking for my dog, so I got on the roof to try and see where he ran off to. How'd you know he was running if you weren't wearing your glasses? Dude, I don't have any glasses. How do you ever expect to find your roof, dog, if you can't even keep track of your eyeglasses? Are you nearsighted or farsighted? Okay, hopefully someone sees this because I think it's pretty funny. Well, my roommate is kind of a lazy dick. He does not wake up to his alarm in the morning, which is especially annoying because he sets it 3 to 4 hours earlier than he needs to get up, even though he just snoozes it 7 to 8 times a morning. My roommate also has this really annoying tone set on his phone when his girlfriend texts him, which is every 5 minutes. It's the Power Rangers theme, but to me sounds more like Kim Possible's beeper. Well, a few weeks ago I noticed that he would wholeheartedly ignore his alarm in the morning, but when his girlfriend texted him, he would magically wake up instantly. So I installed the ringtone on my phone and wake him up at random times throughout the night with it. He wakes up, checks his phone, looks confused, and sometimes even calls his girlfriend. I laugh my ass off every damn time. I walk up to my friends and say, hey, it's my number of people in the group minus 1 favorite people. It's fun to watch their faces as they try and figure out what they might have done to anger me. It's even better if someone corrects me, to which I respond, sorry, my number of people in the group minus 2 favorite people. I apologize to people for having too high of expectations of them on common courtesy. Oh, no man, don't worry about it. I shouldn't have expected you to pay me back the money I loaned you. We're chill. What are they going to do? First of all, they didn't pay me back. Second, I'm laying responsibility on me. Hey mom, that's not cool. I was going to pay you back, but you didn't, don't worry about it. My expectations were set to high. I'm staying at catered accommodation at uni, and the dining hall is a few minutes walk away from the group of blocks where I live. There's a large building in the way, but it takes the same amount of time to go either side of it. When I walk down to the hall and see a group of people going one way, I make sure they've seen me and then go the other way, walking slowly. As soon as I'm out of sight, I pick up the pace to almost jogging, then go back to a slow walk when I get to the other side. After a while, I noticed nearly everyone now went the way I kept going. Then I did it on the other side and got to listen to their confused voices behind me. I'm a server. Over half the people I wait on use credit cards for payment. 99% of the time, literally, their bill is a dollar amount and then some change. For instance, $33.73. When they leave a tip, about 25% of the time, people won't leave an even dollar amount. Instead, they'll leave something like $6.27, which makes it a nice, even amount of $40. This is a decent tip, and I'll put it in as they wrote it. Assuming I know for sure my service was good, if they leave me something like $3.27, which is a shitty tip, I'll only claim $3.26 on the computer so that when they read their bank statement, it will read $36.99. I dream of the day for a phone call of a pissed-off OCD customer who wants his penny put back on the bill. TLDR, if you're an asshole, I claim a penny less on your tip so that your bill doesn't come to an even amount. Edit, clarification, and grammar. For the past few months, I have been drawing dick butt on Post-it notes and sticking them at various locations in my dorm. I only do it maybe once a fortnight, and I prefer to stick them on message boards, mirrors, and on people's doors. People have been trying to figure out where they're coming from and why the hell they're getting posted for a while now. There's this one dude in particular on my floor who has really been trying, and he gets visibly miffed when he finds them on his door after a 2-minute bathroom break. I think after a while I'll switch to the slash or slash NFL Rickroll picture just to see how people react. I have a coworker that, I'm pretty sure, has never used his home bathroom. Every morning he comes in late, and once settled in his office, makes an urgent run to the restroom, which is ultimately rendered uninhabitable for hours after. So much stink. I like to stop him in the hallway between his office and the restroom and strike up friendly conversation. Nice, long conversation. When standing around talking to people, if you shift your weight constantly and subtly bump the person next to you's foot with your foot, and then move it back seeming like an accident, if they don't think too much of it, they usually instinctively move about a step sideways away from you. If you're careful, you can slowly move an entire group of people. My wife has this coworker, and I guess technically this is the coworker's way of fucking with people. Except it's only my theory that my wife and I both think is funny. So, this coworker, she occasionally gets stuck on certain misspellings or certain mispronunciations. And my wife and I joke that after accidentally doing it wrong a few times, this coworker deliberately and belligerently continues the mistake as a passive-aggressive way of taking out revenge on all the people who get their underwear all twisted up whenever something is misspelled or mispronounced. For about 2 years, I told my mom I placed a lawn gnome. She hates lawn gnomes. In her yard, and I would hide it in different places from time to time. I started telling her I added a couple more lawn gnomes around yard. It was to the point that my dad and their friends would go along with me and say they saw a gnome or they saw me hiding it somewhere else. One day, she called me flipping the fuck out. She stated how she has searched her yard for over 3 hours and she even looked inside her house and she couldn't find a gnome anywhere. I never placed a gnome in her yard. I usually make the footnotes longer than the main body of any of my writing. TLDR. In a document/post/message produced by myself, I would sometimes add a footnote or PS, or anything along those lines at the end of it that would actually be longer than the main body. It would actually contain the same, if not less, information than the main body, rendering it completely redundant. If people will enjoy this, but ever since I was accepted in a medical school, most of my friends/family from back home will consistently ask me when I'm visiting, "Hey, what kind of doctor do you want to be?" At first, I would truthfully admit I'm undecided, but that conversation grew so tiring I began answering pediatric gynecologist. It's become so habitual that even if I'm out in public at the grocery store and run into someone and they ask, because it's almost a guarantee that they will ask, I'll just throw it right out there. The reactions have been priceless, and even so far as, "Oh, I didn't know that was a thing, but that sounds very rewarding, and I think you'll be happy in that position." Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Love.